This is Fieldsports Channel News. The RSPB has made a new attack on pheasant shooting via the BBC. Speaking on BBC Radio 4's More or Less programme, RSPB Senior Policy Editor Pat Thompson complained that 47 million pheasants are released each year and only 15 million killed at shoots. Thompson also suggests the illegal killing of birds of prey is linked to pheasant shooting. GWCT Chairman Jim Pace slams the charity for focusing almost entirely on the negative views of pheasant releasing. Former Government Minister Pace says this comes despite the bird charity explicitly stating its rigorously neutral stance on the matter. A moorland group has criticised the BBC's Springwatch for ignoring the role of grouse moor managers. The programme broadcast on the 29th of May featured a short-eared owl like this one it called Dumyat, which was tagged in Scotland and flew around Europe. The Tayside and Central Scotland Moor Group says the BBC's report missed a few important facts and told the true story about the owl in its Facebook post, including how the owl survived thanks to the work of upland gamekeepers. The TCSMG wrote that it was ashamed sporting estates were not given the recognition for the successful breeding of the amber-listed bird. An animal rights group has started posting online just 3 weeks after the police shut their website down. Unoffensive Animal, which uses this picture on its website, was forced to move its server overseas after a post about a vandalised butcher's shop in Nottingham. Its first posts on its new website include new reports about a butcher's shop being attacked in the Brighton area. It claims it's a media platform, so cannot be blamed for the attacks. It issues a threat to police with the code "one cop, one bullet." It ends its post by asking followers for money. The lovely weather during lockdown has had an unpleasant side effect. Rats have been able to survive the end of winter and early spring, and numbers are booming. With restaurants and pubs closed, the rodents have been roaming into suburbs looking for food and even invading homes, according to The Sun. The paper says they include giant 18-inch rats, and there are so many, colonies are engaged in turf wars. The report claims some of the animals are even eating each other. While it may be bad news for people pestered by them, it could be good news for the Kent and Sussex ratters, who we highlighted in this action-packed story earlier this year. Draconian lockdown measures could cost Scottish stalkers £9 million this year. A survey of 103 businesses covering about 2 million acres of land found the loss of let stalking for stags, hinds, roebucks and roe does will mean £2.5 million goes up in smoke. The Association of Deer Management Groups said the survey represents about a third of the let stalking sector. ADMG Chairman Richard Cook says there will be job losses, adding that venison dealers and processors had lost all their restaurant, food service and catering customers during the lockdown.
The industry, which is quite a small industry, although important because it happens in parts of rural Scotland where there's not much else going on economically, say it's even half of that, that will probably mean some job losses, unfortunately. And then the question is the capacity to carry out a proper deer cull next season as well as beyond this season.
People escaping coronavirus lockdown in towns are damaging rural beauty spots. Rangers at Havana Nature Reserve outside Newcastle upon Tyne, home to rare red squirrels, are clearing up beer bottles, crisp packets, condoms and even feces, while firefighters have tackled several blazes. Visitors cut down trees to start fires. Nature Reserve volunteers complain that the wildlife haven has been overused and abused during the lockdown. While dozens of regular hounds and puppy shows across the world have been cancelled because of coronavirus, this one is just starting up. Get ready for the first international virtual hound show, which has welcomed entries from the UK, Ireland, France, US, Canada, New Zealand and Australia. Held between the 17th of July and the 14th of August, there will be specific classes for different types of hound, and there will be 30 virtual rings. A panel of 3 experienced international hound judges for each class will make their decision based on 4 photographs and a video. There will be a public vote for each of the classes. The deadline for entries is the 30th of June. German gunmaker Sig Sauer is shutting up shop in its own country. The Eckernförde plant produces and markets the company's range of handguns and long guns. It supplies both the civilian market, which includes target shooters, collectors and hunters, and law enforcement and military. Managing Director Tim Castagna told employees at the plant that economic problems are forcing it to close. Around 130 employees will be affected by the closure. A company statement cites locational disadvantages and laws increasingly restricting the use of sports firearms. In 2017, Sig Sauer won the lucrative US military pistols contract, which its American arm will continue to supply. The US government is planning to make it easier for industry to kill birds. Accidental bird deaths caused by industry are currently investigated as crimes under the 100-year-old Migratory Bird Treaty Act. The US Fish and Wildlife Service says that US industry kills between 450 million to 1.1 billion birds a year, which land in oil pits or collide with power lines or other structures. More than 1,000 species are covered under the law. In a new video on Facebook, gamekeepers release a roe kid stuck in a wire. The two moorland keepers from Nidderdale heard a cry from a woodland plantation and went to investigate. A roe kid was stuck in a fence. They unwound the wire from the kid and it ran off into the woods. Then they pulled up the section of the old fence and removed it. The Nidderdale Moorland group, which posted the video, added a plea not to disturb or pick up kids and fawns, as their mothers are seldom far away. Police are investigating after a Swedish hunting lodge was burnt to the ground. The fire destroyed the house, which is used by hunters. Police believe it could be arson. Swedish antis have become more militant in recent months, destroying high seats all over the country. Thanks to Per Holmseth for the story. And finally, the anti-guns lobby's influence has spread into the world of cartoons. US network HBO took away Elmer Fudd's gun in a reboot of the classic Looney Tunes cartoon. Executive producer Peter Braungart told the New York Times, "We're not doing guns. Instead, Bugs Bunny's nemesis will be chasing him around with a scythe." Commentators suggest the makers might think beheading animals is more humane than shooting them. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.